Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you're listening or watching me from. This is Reality News, a channel where we give you the recent updates about the recent happenings in Nigeria and beyond. Today, we're looking at a very unpalatable news, just like it reads unbelievable. It is seriously unbelievable. I wouldn't know where we are heading to as a country, Nigeria. I wouldn't know where this country is heading to. I wouldn't know where the leaders are piloting the affairs of this country, where we are heading, the direction we are heading. But from the news today, it reads Nigeria's 2021 education budget worse in a decade by NANS. NANS is the National Association of Nigerian Students. NANS, National Association of Nigerian Students. You know, the worst in a decade. That's seriously unbelievable. What are our priorities as a government in this nation? What are the priorities of our government in this nation? One will tend to ask. Well, I would like to read from the news directly for us to get the picture before we move into the analysis proper. The National Association of Nigerian Students President Comrade Sunday Asefon has described the amount allocated to the education sector in the country's 2021 budget as the worst in a decade, the very worst in a decade. Nigeria's budgeted 6.3% of its 2021 national budget on the Federal Ministry of Education, a sum of 742.5 billion naira out of the total 11.7 trillion naira budget was allowed or allocated to the ministry, out of which 615.1 billion is proposed to go into the recurrent expenditure of the ministry, covering personnel and overhead costs, while 127.3 billion is devoted to capital expenditure. Now, I would like to pause there a little bit. Over the years, we've been hearing about they've been assigning a quantum sum of the national budget to capital expenditure. Capital expenditure. We've been hearing about capital expenditure, and nothing has been seen on the ground. Nothing has been seen. Nothing. No feasible structure. No feasible infrastructure on the ground. But every year in, year out, we hear of so much amount budgeted for capital expenditure. Let me go on with the reading. As a phone, while addressing the journalists at the Osun State Correspondence Chapel of the Nigerian Union of Journalists on Thursday in Osogbo, said, a careful analysis of the budget showed that the federal government is not serious about revitalizing education in the country. While calling on the federal government to review the sector's budget upwardly, he also urged the government to summon an education summit to allow stakeholders in the sector to collectively provide solution to the rot in the sector. We all will agree that there's a rot in this sector. I continue reading. The 2021 budget allocation for the education sector is worst in a decade. We call on federal government to find means to jack up the education budget. We also urge the government to call for an education summit for the stakeholders to come together and find a lasting solution to the challenges facing the sector. Nigeria should follow the path Singapore followed to tackle its education challenge and look forward to having a knowledge-based education. I also call on federal government include to include indigent students on conditional cash transfer. It is an investment in the future, especially of Nigerian students. If allowed to benefit from the scheme, students across the country have also been victims of the devastating economic challenge in the country. We, on our part, will also organize security summit across the NANS zones to challenge and forestall bandits from further harassing students, like the incident that happened in Kankara local government area of Katsina State, where students were kidnapped in broad daylight. Also, NANS, in a resolution signed by its president, also described the recent hike electricity tariff as anti-people, insensitive, and ill-timed, calling on the government to reverse the hike or face mass action. Let us pause there a little bit. Looking at other countries, concentrate and invest in their education sector because they know that education is the lifeline of any given society. Education gives the society the foundation. Education is the foundation of every thriving society, of every thriving economy, of every thriving economy. But why will ours be different? Where is the priority of this goal? Where exactly is our priority when we are assigning less than 7% of the national budget to education? This is awful. It is awful. I wouldn't know what you think about it. I wouldn't know what you think about it. But from my own point of view, this is not welcoming at all. And the government should do better. Should do better about this. They should no, they should do better. We expect we expect our education sector to be thriving. We expect things, to come up in the education sector because without education, the future, the youth have no future. The future is bleak. The future is it's in fact there's no hope for the future without education. So why will our leaders be thinking contrary? I will say that, of course, in their days, most of them enjoyed free education. Not just free education, they enjoyed quality education. Not just free education, they enjoyed quality education. And that is very, very awful. They are not replicating the same. And I know that so many of them travel abroad. They see what is obtainable in abroad. They send their children to schools in abroad. But why are they not replicating same in their home country? Why are they not replicating same in their home country? It beats my imagination. Now, uh, a little bit on the analysis based on the background of education in Nigeria. Nigeria has a lower than expected level of educational achievement, given its moderately high per capita income. Illiteracy rates are high, and there are big gaps in achievement between the rich and the poor, boys and girls, and different regions. Overall, Nigeria ranks 152 out of 187 countries in the United Nations Human Development Index, below Kenya, Ghana, Botswana, and Rwanda, and the likes. Investing in early years education gives the greatest benefit for each naira spent. For each naira spent in the budget, investing in early year education gives the greatest benefit for each naira spent. One of the most pressing problems is the low rate of attendance of pre-primary schools, which is only 13% in Nigeria compared to an average of 20% in sub-Saharan Africa. Attending preschool has a lot of benefits, including better performance during later schooling, a lower dropout rate, less likelihood of involvement in crime, and higher adult earnings. That's the reason why we have high rate of banditry today, because of the lack of education, and the government is not even looking at that direction. The government is not even looking at that direction. If you see if you see the age grade of those people that are called the bandits, you will realize that most of them are teenagers, and some of them are in their early you know adolescence. Still, they involve in all these things because they lack education. Education is the basic, the foundation for our progress in this country, for we to move forward in this country. For each year of preschool, there is a 7 to 12% increase in lifetime earning, with the greatest gain for children from disadvantaged ground. Of course, it is the poor that will always benefit. Primary school is also important, but enrollment rates are relatively low. Why? Because there's no motivation. The government is doing absolutely little or nothing about it. Look at the budget, as mini as small as inconsequential. Oh God, where are we going? There are many overage students and many who are repeating years. It takes 9 years on average to complete the 6 primary school years. High level of grade repetition have been linked to high dropout rates, and only 77% of students complete basic education. Basic education. Basic. We're talking about basic education. Only 77% of students complete basic education. This is a much poorer performance than a number of other countries in this region of West Africa. And Nigeria has 7 million primary school age children out of school. But still, the government is doing not like little or nothing about it. Look at the budget. Look at the budget. We are not looking at that. Half of the population over 15 are classified. Half of the population of over 15 are classified as illiterate. Of the 41 million adult illiterate, 10 million are aged 15 to 24. 10 million are aged 15 to 24, and that is the age grade of all these bandits, which does not go well for generations to come. It doesn't go well for generations to come. I wouldn't know what your own opinion is concerning the way the government of Nigeria is taking education, the way Nigeria generally has taken education, the way our education system is. This is unbelievable. The quality of education in Nigeria is a big problem. In fact, it's a foundational problem. It's from the root. It's something that we tackle from the root, and we have to develop the political will to fix it. With Nigeria performing worst out of the 22 sub-Saharan and North African countries rated by the World Bank in 2008. The main contributing factors are poor physical facilities, inadequate sanitation, lack of textbooks, and the number of unqualified teachers. To make matters worse, the high percentage of male teachers in the North means that many families there opt to withdraw girls from school. They opt to withdraw their girls from school, giving them out to early marriages. This is unbelievable. There are wide disparities between different social groups. In the northern states, only 1 in 3 primary school children are girls. People in the north are 4 times more likely to have no education than those in the south. Half of all women in rural areas are illiterate, compared to 14% of men in towns and cities. The poorest 20% of women have a literacy rate of only 13%, compared to 92% in the wealthiest 20%. 3/4 of women in the poorest household have no formal education at all. And that is very, very awful. I wouldn't know what you think about it. Please, I would like you to kindly drop your comments in the comment section. Let's converse. Let's get to talk about these things. There should be a way forward if at all we want to make meaningful impact in the nearest future. So many children out there, you see beggars on the street. Yet the government is assigning a worthless percent of the yearly budget to education. Please kindly drop your comment. Let's converse, and let me get to hear your own opinions on this. Thank you very much.